Okay, quick question, and I want you to really think about this one. If someone walked up to you right now and said, "Tell me about yourself," could you do it? In English? Without freezing? Without going completely blank? Because honestly, most people can't. And here's the thing, it's not because their English is bad, it's because nobody ever actually taught them how to introduce themselves properly. And today, that changes.
Welcome to Daily English Conversation Club, everyone. I'm Leo.
And I'm Zara, and we are so happy you're here with us today. Seriously, whether you're listening on your commute, in your room, or just chilling somewhere, welcome. You're in the right place.
So today's episode is something I think almost every single listener can relate to. We're talking about self-introductions. And I know, it sounds simple, right? Like, oh, I just say my name and where I'm from. But Zara, you and I both know it is so much more than that.
It really is. And what's interesting is that this one skill, introducing yourself, shows up everywhere. It shows up on your first day of school. It shows up when you start college. It shows up in job interviews. It even shows up at social events when someone just casually says, "Hey, so tell me about yourself." And if you're not prepared, that moment can feel terrifying.
Absolutely. And before we dive in, we want to hear from you. We're starting a little comment challenge today, and here's what we want you to do. At some point in this episode, we're going to teach you a really powerful phrase for introductions. When you hear it, drop it in the comments below. Use it. Write a mini introduction using that phrase. We read every single comment, and we love seeing your practice. So stay sharp. That challenge is coming.
Also, if you're new here, welcome to the family. Hit subscribe and share this episode with a friend who's learning English. You sharing this, that's literally the biggest support you can give us.
Okay, so let's actually talk about this. Zara, do you remember the first time you had to introduce yourself in English, like formally?
Oh, I remember it very clearly, and it was not pretty. I was in my first year of college, and the professor said, "Let's go around the room, everyone introduce themselves." And I had about 30 seconds to prepare while I watched other people talk. And by the time it was my turn, I completely forgot everything I wanted to say. I think I said my name, said I liked music, and then just stopped, just sat down. I was so embarrassed.
See, and that's the thing. That happens to so many people. It's not that you don't know English, it's that you don't have a structure. You don't have a little framework in your head that you can just pull out when you need it. And that's what we're giving you today.
Exactly. Think of it like a recipe. You know how when you're cooking something new, it feels complicated? But once you know the steps, once you have that recipe, it becomes easy, even automatic. That's what a self-introduction is. It's a recipe.
I love that. So what does that recipe look like? Well, for a school or college setting, and this is great for students especially, the basic recipe is this: your name, where you're from, what you're studying or interested in, and one personal detail that makes you memorable. Just 4 ingredients.
And the key word there is memorable, because here's the honest truth. When a teacher or a classmate hears 20 introductions in a row, most of them blur together. The ones that stand out are the ones that have something a little personal, a little real, not something you copied from a textbook, something that actually sounds like you.
So, for example, and let's actually model this. Instead of saying, "Hello, my name is Leo. I'm from Mumbai. I like cricket," which is fine, right? It's correct English, but it's a little flat. Instead, you could say something like, "Hi everyone, I'm Leo. I'm from Mumbai," which, if you've never been, is basically the city that never sleeps. I'm studying business, but honestly, my real passion is cricket. I'll probably bring it up way too much this year, so I apologize in advance. That's the same information, but it's warm, it's funny, it's human.
And people remember that because you gave them something to connect to. And here's our vocabulary drop for part one. The phrase is, "My real passion is." This is such a natural, beautiful phrase. It says, yes, I do this officially, but this is what I actually love. And it works in school, college, interview, anywhere. So that's your comment challenge phrase. Go drop it below. Finish this sentence. My real passion is, and tell us what it is. We want to know.
All right, so we talked about school and college introductions, that casual first day of class vibe. But now let's shift to something that feels a little heavier for most people, job interviews.
Oh, yes, the big one.
Because tell me about yourself in an interview is a completely different animal. It's the same question on the surface, but the stakes feel so much higher. And a lot of people make the mistake of either going way too long, like they start from childhood, or going way too short and just saying their name and degree, and then looking at the interviewer like, was that okay?
Yeah, I've heard stories, and honestly, I've been in interviews where I did exactly that, where I basically just read my resume out loud and then stopped, and it was incredibly awkward, because the interviewer is not asking you to recite your resume, they already have it. They're asking you to sell yourself, to show personality, to give them a reason to remember you above everyone else they're interviewing that day.
Right. And this is where structure becomes your best friend again. In an interview context, there's a framework that a lot of career coaches talk about, and it's called the present, past, future method. And it's really simple. You start with who you are right now, your current role, or your most recent experience. Then you briefly touch on your background, where you came from, what you've done, and then you end with where you're going, what you're hoping to do in this role, what excites you about this opportunity.
And the beautiful thing about that structure is it tells a story. It's not a list. It has a beginning, a middle, and a kind of forward-looking energy at the end. And interviewers love that because it shows you're not just qualified, you're motivated.
Let me give you a real example. Imagine someone applying for a marketing job. Instead of saying, I have a degree in marketing and 2 years of experience, full stop, awkward pause. Instead, they say, right now, I'm working as a content writer for a small digital agency where I've been handling social media campaigns for about 2 years. Before that, I studied marketing in college, and honestly, that's where I discovered how much I love understanding what makes people click, what makes them stop scrolling. And what excites me about this role specifically is that your brand focuses on storytelling, which is exactly the direction I want to grow in.
See how that lands differently? It's so much warmer. And the phrase, what excites me about this role, that's gold. Interviewers hear that and they think, okay, this person has actually thought about why they're here. They're not just desperate for any job. They have a real interest.
And that brings us to our grammar insight for today. And I promise we're keeping it light. We're talking about the present perfect tense, specifically in self-introductions, because it comes up all the time, and people often avoid it because they're not sure how to use it. But it's actually really simple in this context. I have been working at, I have studied, I have developed skills in. The present perfect tells the interviewer this is something I started in the past and is still relevant right now. It connects your history to your present. And in an introduction, that's exactly the message you want to send.
Honestly, once you start noticing it, you hear it everywhere. I've been learning English for 2 years. I've worked in customer service. I've always been passionate about design. It's such a natural, flowing way to talk about your experience without sounding like you're listing dates on a timeline.
Now, quick pause. If you're enjoying this episode and you're getting something out of it, please do us a huge favor. Go share this with one person in your life who's learning English or preparing for interviews or going back to school. Just one person. Send them this episode. Because you sharing it, that's how this community grows. That's how we can keep making this content for free. So thank you genuinely for every share and every subscription. It means everything to us at Daily English Conversation Club.
Okay, here's a myth I want to bust before we move on. And this is one I believed for a long time, so I'm saying this with love. Myth: a good self-introduction needs to be long and impressive to stand out. Reality: the best introductions are short, clear, and specific.
Yes, honestly, this is so true. 2 minutes maximum, maybe even 90 seconds. And within that, the goal is not to say everything. The goal is to make the other person curious enough to ask a follow-up question. That's it. If you end your introduction and the interviewer leans forward slightly and says, "Oh, tell me more about that," that's your sign. That lean forward, that tell me more, that's the goal. So we've covered school introductions, college introductions, interview introductions. And I think the theme running through all of them is authenticity wins. Being genuinely yourself with a little structure is more powerful than trying to sound perfect.
And I think there's something really important to say here, which is your accent doesn't have to be perfect. Your grammar doesn't have to be flawless. What matters most is that you're clear, that you're warm, and that you sound like you. Interviewers and teachers and classmates are not grading you on your accent. They're responding to your energy, your confidence, your eye contact if it's in person, and the way your words make them feel.
That is so well said. And you know what? This connects to something I want to share. Just a real-life observation. I once met someone who was preparing for a college admission interview. English was their second language, and they were incredibly nervous because they kept comparing themselves to people who'd grown up speaking English. And I remember watching them practice, and honestly, they were so specific, so thoughtful, so genuine in what they said that by the end, I had goosebumps because they weren't trying to sound like someone else. They were just being honest about who they were and why they wanted to study there.
And that specificity, that's the thing. When you say, I want to study engineering because I find it interesting, okay, fine. But when you say, I want to study engineering because when I was 12, I watched a documentary about how bridges are built and I couldn't stop thinking about it, that's a story. That's a human being talking. And that's what people connect to.
Okay, so let's do our practical tip for today. And this is your mini challenge. So I want you to actually do this, not just listen and nod.
Go away from this episode and write a 60-second introduction for yourself. Use the present, past, future structure if it's for an interview. Use the name, origin, study, personal detail structure if it's for school or college. Then record yourself saying it, just once, on your phone, voice memo, whatever. Listen back. Notice where you pause. Notice where you sound natural. And then try it again.
And if you're feeling brave, and we really hope you are, post that introduction or even just a part of it in the comments. We genuinely read them. The community here reads them, and there's nothing more powerful for your English than actually using it in public, even in the comments section.
So, here's our big idea recap for today, and I want to say this slowly because I think it's important. A self-introduction is not about impressing people. It's about connecting with people. The goal is never to sound perfect. The goal is to sound real, to give someone a window into who you are and to leave them wanting to know more. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And the 3 things you walk away with today. 1. Have a structure, whether it's the recipe for school or the present, past, future for interviews. 2. Include one personal detail that makes you you. 3. Keep it short, keep it specific, keep it warm.
Now for our signature segment, Phrase of the Day. And today's phrase is one we actually used earlier in the episode. It's, what excites me about this is, and this works everywhere. In interviews, in conversations, even casually. It shows enthusiasm. It shows thoughtfulness. It's a phrase that makes people lean in. So, your challenge, use it somewhere this week. In a conversation, in a comment, in an email. What excites me about this is, go make it yours.
And before we go, don't forget the comment challenge. We asked you earlier to finish this sentence. My real passion is... Go drop it in the comments right now. Tell us what your real passion is. We want to meet you down there.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend who needs it, and come back for our next episode. We are going to be talking about something that so many learners struggle with. And honestly, something we struggled with too, so you don't want to miss it.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. You showed up today for yourself and for your English, and that matters. This is Leo.
And this is Zara from Daily English Conversation Club. Keep talking, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next one.